Sawadee Cup, everyone. So this time I'm recording in Chiang Mai, Thailand. I have a American young lady by the name of Sarah Manop Gym, also known as Salah Manop Gym. She shares her story, explains to us where she comes from, why she started Muay Thai, how she got to where she is today, and her love for Manop Gym. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's been really enjoyable for me to record it today. So yeah, enjoy it, guys, and please do the liking and subscribing and the sharing stuff. The more I can get it out there, the quicker I get monetized and the quicker I can start giving away stuff. So yeah, thanks, guys. Please enjoy.
Yeah.
All right, so how are we, Sarah?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Also known as Salah.
Salah. The amount of people who, one, have thought that my name is actually Salah, or get very confused and think that I'm actually a Muslim man, like when they see it written down.
Yeah.
Like, when's Salah showing up?
Oh, wow.
No, it's me.
So pronunciation
Of Sarah in Thai is like Salah. So she just decided to use her Instagram handle as that and just go with it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of no different to why I'm Pinky.
Yeah.
Like, it was just easy to go with it than it was to try and fight people getting my name right.
Yeah. And well, then it worked out. My brother ended up marrying another Sarah, so I'm just Salah in the family now. Let's go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right, so on to the Muay Thai thing. How long have you been doing Muay Thai?
I've been doing Muay Thai almost 7 years now.
7 years? Cool.
Yeah.
I've racked up a fair bit for that. And where's home?
Home is in the US. All over, I moved around a lot, but near Washington, D.C. is like where I started, so I usually train there.
Yep. Point the finger there. So, how did Thailand become a thing?
Thailand, Muay Thai is the reason why, of course. And my first trainers in the States were Thai, so actually from Chiang Mai. But I had never intended to come here initially just because I was still in my job, kind of balancing everything. It was working well. And then during COVID, I had to switch gyms. And I got a promotion that was like my dream job in theory. And I hated it. I loved the job, but I hated that it sucked all my time and everything out, and I was like, the money's not worth it. And so it was just kind of especially with COVID and everything shutting down, I think it made you really prioritize, what do I actually want to do with my fucking life? And so I was like, I want to quit and go try for a year in Thailand. I'd never been here before. And I was like, I know I like Muay Thai. If after a year it's bust, great, I'll come back and get back in the job market or whatever. But now I'm 2.5 years in and never really want to go back.
I met you 2 years ago, pretty much now. 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
When you were fighting, was on Super Champ? Did you fight on Super Champ?
Yeah. I fought Mary, who's actually fighting Som in the next part of the tournament.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so Chiang Mai has been your base the whole time or most of the time?
I actually started in Bangkok at Muay Thai Academy, so I lived in Rompo too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I spent the first 6 months there. I knew gyms kind of, but I had a friend at the time, Mariana, who was training at Muay Thai Academy. Yeah. So I just moved out and I was like, let me just start there, get in shape, and then after a bit of time I came up to Chiang Mai. My uncle actually lives here, he's an expat from France. Tried out Hong Kong, and I was like, Chiang Mai is more my vibe. So shortly after that, moved up.
Chiang Mai is a vibe, hey?
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, Rompo is the apartment block in the car park. It used to be Rompo Gym, now it's Muay Thai Academy.
Yeah.
It was the first gym that I trained out of in Bangkok, and the first gym I fought out of in Bangkok. And the hotel next door used to sponsor me as a fighter, so every fight I get a little stipend from them. And I lived in the apartments on the other side in Mahasin, on the other side of Rompo. Yeah. So I lived in the shithole, and then back then though, when I first came to Rompo, it was before it had been done up. It was actually like a hospital.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it was so basic. It was just like a hospital. It was and there was some rooms that had 6 single beds in them, just for fighters and stuff.
Get them in more and more.
So you fought in the US before you came out here?
Yeah, I had a couple amateur fights, but they were all pre-COVID. I had a lot of stuff lined up 2020, and then it all shut down, and so I I didn't really bother fighting again until I came back, because with switching gyms and everything was still really strange, and so I didn't really get into like my groove. And with shit, I put on weight. I can't, and people were like, you should like get in shape before you move to Thailand. I was like, no, I'm gonna do that there. Let me spend time with my family before I go.
Yeah, for sure.
So it came out. So I have 7 fights amateur there.
And
then now the rest is fucking 29. Yeah, 29 here.
Nice. That's pumping about, eh?
Yeah.
I think
So that's what, in 2.5 years?
Yeah.
29, 2.5. So the end of my career was 35 in about the same time.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, like it's, but I think it's also kind of the way to do it until you're at that level where you don't have to anymore.
Yes, definitely.
Like rack them up while you can.
And especially getting because my first fights when I came out here, they had a little AMI show in Bangkok because it was still weird, things shut down, so I did that. And then I immediately went on Muay Hardcore, was my next fight. My first professional fight.
Little gloves.
It was with Pong Kao. It was my first one on TV. Yeah. So I got my ass beat. And my first round was really good, but then she just got my timing, and it was my 9th fight ever. The second fight in 3 years. And so it was just a really big lesson for me at that point, lots of damage, but then I just need more time in the ring. I just need to be comfortable, I need to figure shit out. And that was another reason why I came up to Chiang Mai, was I was like, I don't want to go in, I get this injured every time, or I'm not going to keep fighting. So I want to do it in a smart way, in the Thai style, 5 rounds, you're slower, you're going to get used to feeling it out. And then I spent a few months fighting here, and then went back to Super Champ. That's
cool.
When we met.
Yes. So I think Chiang Mai is the best place to come and get experience. If you're an elite guy, there's not a lot of options up here. It's always travel to fight. It's kind of like being in Adelaide, actually. Adelaide's the same. If you're not, lower end to middle of the range, there's nothing going on. You've got to go elsewhere, right?
Exactly.
So here's a great place to come and get experience, and you can fight every week if you wanted. You can fight every few days if you wanted.
Definitely.
Yeah, and there's kind of a reputation of not being the strongest fighters in Thailand. So you go and live in Isan and you're fighting in the temple fairs, you're still fighting animals. You go in the south, you got that crazy south thing, they're a little bit more nuts and
a lot more foreigners. You'll probably end up fighting foreigners more. If you fight a foreigner in Chiang Mai, it's not as common, it's possible.
Pretty rare, but
Also, I wouldn't do it for the money they pay, because it's not good money. So I'm I don't want to go take damage from fighting a foreigner.
No, this is a good subject, because I've talked about it with my boy Fiddy Shades a few times, how fighting Thais or fighting good fighters, it's so less painful. You might get leg chopped, that kind of damage, but you're not just clashing knees and kicking each other's blocks all the time. It's more of a chess match, right?
Exactly.
And that's why it's good for people to come up here, because then, especially if you're from, say, Australia, America, England, whatever, you come up here, you rack up a pile of experience, you go back. Obviously, it automatically you go back, then all of a sudden you've got to fight at that experience level, which is the downside of fighting in Thailand, because you're generally not fighting killers here. You go back to your own country and it's but then you get to be the guy that sets the pace. So you can be the guy that actually, people go, oh, that's what Muay Thai looks like. So I never got to do that because I came back to Australia already retired.
That makes sense.
So that's, as a trainer, it's kind of my whole thing is, you go out there and do the Muay Thai thing. Fuck what everyone else does. I'd rather you lose doing the right thing than, this is where Chiang Mai comes in so handy, I only ever had one fight here, it was my last ever.
Really?
I fought in Taipei, 12 and a half years ago.
Classic.
Old. And back then I've heard they don't have all the girly bars around it anymore in Taipei.
No, that's Loy Crow. Loy Crow has all the girly bars. They changed it.
So that used to, I don't remember that Loy Crow existing, but I remember there was the one near the night market.
Gale.
There was that one, and then Taipei were the only ones I knew of back then. But I came up here for a fight, and it just happened to be my last one. It wasn't meant to be, but it ended up being my last.
When you know, you know. And afterwards, usually.
Yes, exactly. So you were at Hong Kong. How long were you there for?
I was there about a year.
Okay.
And then moved on to Manop last September. So a year.
Okay, it's been a year now. Oh, cool. Yeah, sweet. So what took you to Manop?
Actually, lots of reasons. Like, I'd spent a year at Hong Kong. I naturally was a Muay Thai fighter. For my very first fight, I loved clinching in the States even. Unfortunately, with the Thai trainers I had there, they taught me good clinch. So that's always made sense to me. And when I was at Muay Thai Academy, I came up just for a fight in Chiang Mai, and a mutual friend knew Joe, and they like set it up. So Hong Kong kind of took care of me, and that was when I really enjoyed like not just the vibes of Chiang Mai, but also like Hong Kong. We got along really well, really quickly. But at a certain point, especially last year in the RWS tournament, when my shoulder dislocated, I was like, fuck, I have another fight in 5 weeks and another fight in that after 5 weeks, and like I can't use my shoulder the same way. Like I can't grab and clinch the way that I want to. Or punch and go forward in the same way. Like I was like, that's not gonna work. So I have to attempt to be Fuma. For my first time ever. And the next fight I did okay. Like it was a really close fight with Gabriela Ramos. But she was just coming in stronger, and I didn't have the footwork, I didn't have things. And so I think that process of that and then fighting Som, like I knew Krumanop, I knew Suicide. And so I knew people at Manop, and we were friendly, but I just really enjoyed Hong Kong. But at that point, it kind of pointed out all of the weaknesses I had, and I realized I was like, I've learned all the strengths from Hong Kong. I think it's time for me to move somewhere that's going to fix my weaknesses. And make me a more complete fighter. So,
Yeah, sweet.
So, obviously, dating one of the top guys in the gym as well does help.
Interestingly, though, that was the big reason I didn't want to come. If I'm honest with you.
No, good on you. That's fair.
Because this is a thing, and it's a thing over here where girls. I know one in
particular who's quite famous for it, getting all the options, getting all the opportunities because of what she does with trainers.
And I think the same thing happens anywhere in
the world.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, it's trying. You know, like there's a lot of people will look at anyone for trying to be opportunistic by doing so. Unfortunately, it ruins it for the people that genuinely. This is what I have a rule in my gym, like no sleeping with anyone in the gym.
Perfect.
And unfortunately, that ruins it for some people who might actually fall in love.
Yes, no, for sure.
But unfortunately, to save the drama of. And smart move, like obviously not wanting to do it, but the thing is, if you were already together before you were, it's a different story, right?
We spent, we were together 8 months. Like when we first started dating, I was at Hong Kong, and my trainers even at the time were like, oh, so now you're gonna go to Manop? And I was like, no. The whole reason I have not dated anyone who's come to this gym ever is because I like boundaries. And I wanted to, just for me and Moo at the time, like I wanted us to be, I was like, I don't want you to be my trainer. I've seen many relationships also with trainer and girlfriend, and they're usually assholes to their girlfriend. And have an excuse for it. Like, it's like, well, I'm being your trainer right now. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Fortunately, Moo's not like that. But when I was considering potentially going to Manasak, and at the time they were still really far south. And Moo and I were talking, and he's brought up that he's like, oh, Krumanop asked why you don't come here. And I was like, I just don't know. And like, we talked about it many times and joked about it. And Moo said he told Krumanop like, oh, Sarah just doesn't want her boyfriend to train her. And Krumanop was like, oh, then I'll train her. And I was like, oh, okay, then I'll come. Like, I'll come try it out. And fortunately, Moo is very good. Like, we have great boundaries. We're really good. It's great in the gym. But it is like it's a good general rule to have. Like, there's too much crossing. And it's also like, I think a lot of trainers don't realize the power dynamic they have at play, and how that affects people wanting to like even in the past I've had trainers like hit on me or flirt with me, and it makes you as a fighter even like kind of uncomfortable in, okay, I have to be nice about this, because if I'm just rude, they might not give me opportunity.
And it goes either way, whether it be the person using, you know, like say the girl using the guy trainer, or the trainer using the students to get laid, which unfortunately is super common over here. Because obviously the Thai guys like the white women and whatnot. Have you come across, not that you're the type of person to give a fuck anyway, but have you come across people talking shit like that kind of?
Like about me and Moo? No, not here. Fortunately, I feel like I try to be as much as I can like on my own. I mean, we're pretty like together too, but like for me, Muay Thai is such a big deal. Like it's what I came here for and everything, and so like I try to make sure my goals as much as I can stay fairly like separate and everything. And so like I think people generally, I mean, it makes you wonder sometimes, like, am I just a girlfriend? But I'm like, no, I'm an active fighter at the gym. I help teach. Crew Manop is wonderful and like respects me and appreciates me for not just being Moo's girlfriend. Like, I'm there as a valued person. So I think because the trainers and everybody see me that way, like any student who would talk shit.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, for sure. And like the thing I say about Manop Gym and why I love the place is because it reminds me of my gym. Like everyone, you come in there, all of a sudden you're just part of the family.
Yes.
And the shit people work their own way out.
Yeah.
They find the exit pretty quickly. Same at my gym. It's exactly the same.
Exactly.
I think it's important, like, to have a community where you can come in and everyone just feels like they're part of something, you know?
Definitely.
The people who, not a lot of people start Muay Thai because they love themselves.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's, obviously I know your story, right? And life's crazy. What life dishes out to us before we even have that choice in life or whatever.
Yep.
It can suck. But when people can use something like Muay Thai to find their goal, their target, what the things they want to chase in life to feel better. Are you comfortable talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I'll talk about it all. You're good.
Yeah, cool. I know you
have spoken about it, but I was
don't know whether you wanted to
voice. Do you want to share
some of your story?
Yeah, I'll give the short version.
Yeah.
So I found Muay Thai. So I was sexually abused as a kid, and I found Muay Thai through a retreat in the States by the organization like Supriya. And so they put on a retreat fully paid, like you just had to get there basically. And they still do it every single week for women who went through childhood sexual abuse. Yep. And they had Muay Thai as one of the activities we did. Cool. And it was really cool because it was specifically Muay Thai too. Of course it was, none of us knew anything, just hitting pads, but that was like the shit. And after they even gave like resources, at the time where I was living, it was close to their headquarters, so they had like a weekly thing. Yeah. And then when I went to and moved to DC, they were like, oh, here are some gyms, or like here are some ways you can talk to gyms about it when you're coming from a traumatized experience, or like discussing with the trainer.
So you've given a lot of pointers in posts and stuff before, and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot, because it's a different thing. I think a lot of people in general come from trauma, but especially the women who come to martial arts. Yeah. A lot of them come from, many women I know, it's like I was being stalked, I got attacked, I was in at the time when I started Muay Thai, I was actually married, and my husband at the time was abusing me physically.
I didn't know that bit, okay.
Yeah, so like part of the beauty of it for me was that like when I was ready to leave, Muay Thai and the gym is what gave me the confidence, because I now had a community, I had people who helped me move out, I had people who like were there. Like the night I was leaving, it was one of my friends who called me because I'd missed class because I was obsessed. And she's like, is everything okay? And I was like, no, I actually need a place to stay tonight. And she like let me sleep on her couch. So like, to me, Muay Thai has given me everything, and it can be so many beautiful things. On the flip side, it also has all of the same issues as any other part of the world. There's still, like you say, power dynamics, there's still abusive gyms, there's still places where people take advantage.
But there's also the feeling, that feeling when you've lost a fight, or when things, like your injury for instance, and like when you just, man, it's the lowest of the low. Yeah. Like unfortunately, like it's so much about, you take away fighting from Muay Thai and it can be the best medicine. Yeah. You add fighting in and you probably need medicine by the time your career's over.
It's its own roller coaster of like, this is the best thing in my life, and then like, oh no.
But you know, the one thing I've learned in life, and you know, I come from a pretty miserable background and whatnot, and my thing is, I found resilience. It created resilience to the point where now when shit is shit, it's actually never really that shit. Yes. Because, man, I've been fighting in the ring when I've had diarrhea and had 24 Imodium pills and worried about getting teeth in the guts and shitting everywhere. You know, like, those things make you tough, you know? And but even small little things in the gym, that one day when, man, like girls getting their period and you're just flat, there's nothing going on. You don't get the option over here like you do in Australia where, like, I've got my period. Yeah, cool. No worries. Let's just do technical stuff today. Yeah. No, sorry.
You're still getting shark tanked.
You're still having a shit day.
It's probably going to be 10 times as bad.
Yeah. But those things, like, no matter how cliche
it is and how shit it sounds, like what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. It is actually true.
Definitely.
If you don't allow that to own you, but you own it.
With the like the slight caveat I'll add to that, because I agree. I've done a lot of this like studying, like optimal adversity is what I call it. It's like as long as you feel in control, or as long as you have like an accurate assessment of what's happening. Like it's not about just pushing through anything, because usually that's what can lead to injury.
Yeah, for sure.
But then the same thing of like, that's actually what I love about Manop. Like if you're having your period, they go light on you. Like they're very,
cool,
it's crazy.
I noticed there's I said to a lot of the guys, you're not going to, this is very new school.
Yeah.
Like it's not just smashing pads 2 sessions a day. I said that to the guys, I think yesterday, straight after training, I was like, the old way is, there's still a few gyms left, and I had a friend just leave a gym because it was that way.
Yes.
But it's the whole, oh man, like we used to do 10-minute rounds. You'd run before training, you'd skip for half an hour, you'd clinch for an hour, you'd do all your bag and pads, all 10-minute rounds.
Yep.
You'd get to the end of that, and then you'd go running again.
Yeah.
And it was like, more is not the recipe.
No.
Like I think the guys were exhausted after yesterday, but
I think they were a little bit shocked at how chill the morning was, and but this is the thing. Manop he's been overseas. He listens to people. For the people that don't know, Manop Gym was where Phuket Fight Club is now. That's where it started. Yeah. Like, and he had those guys with him, and
that was kind of the beginning of him as a head trainer.
Yeah.
So, you know, he knows what's going on. He knows what's up.
And Manop himself, like, just because I think a big part of it, I don't know that he maybe he does more study the science of it, but I think because he's just done this for so long, he just gets it.
I think he's just intelligent.
Yeah, no,
and intelligence is very much
lacking over here.
Yes.
Only not through genetics, but through the education system and
of course,
the tiered system of you're important or
you're not, depending on how much money you have and that kind of
stuff. Like, because I've known Manop for 18 years now, and before he was a trainer, when Nong Fa was like a little kid, and he, even back then, he wasn't a trainer, and I don't even know that he could have been in a pad
holder at the time, you know, like he was a soccer player. And a locksmith. And even back then, the things he used to say were like, he says some profound shit, you know, which rare in this country. Yeah, so this is why, obviously, when Liam was looking for somewhere to come, I was like, come here, get some experience. It's a good place to go. Panna came here. Obviously, I'm bringing my team here this trip. Panna loved it, you know, and I think it suits him because Panna's one of those dudes, like, he will train hard, but if he wants a day off, he wants a day off.
Yes.
And you take a day off in a Thai gym, the old school, man, sorry, but
you're lazy.
Yeah, and you're getting ignored. You're now just hitting the bag. No one's holding pads for you. No one's doing nothing. Yeah. Whereas here, if it becomes too regular, it's a different story. But
of course,
if you're having a day off, like Pan's like, I didn't go this morning. I just need to sleep in.
Yeah.
There was no change. He still got to fight. He still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still fit enough. And I'm now
changing my ways because of that same sort of thing. I used to be the old dictator
style, like
if you're taking days off, you're getting 500 kicks punishment
and shit, like
for the next day. If you don't tell me you're not coming in, you're still getting punished.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's the big thing, is just communication. Yeah. That's what I tell it. Especially when you've got a fight in Loy Crow, it's not as intense, or in Chiang Mai, but when you've got a fight in Bangkok, that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, just shoot a message. Crew Manop will understand, but at least they know why you're missing. Like, I'm not feeling well, or this is tired, or something.
Exactly. It's not hard, is it?
No.
And so that's, as I say, like I don't script any of this stuff, and I'm off on tangents. And
I love it.
Communication. So communication is, I say to everyone, just communicate. Like, let me know what's going on. If you're feeling shit about a fight that's coming up, if you're feeling good, if you feel whatever, just talk to me about stuff. How do you find that over here with language barrier? Like, with being able to really express how you're feeling, how...
Oh, I don't know that for me, I do that with people, like the basics of, like, if physically I communicate with my coaches and the Thais, but past a certain nuance, because I'm still working with, even dating a Thai, even knowing Thai a lot, there are some words they just don't have in Thai, or like different mindsets. So sometimes, to be honest, like, I keep it simple. Like, I know myself, if I'm not feeling well mentally, I'll just say I'm sick or like I have a headache or something. Like I keep it still communication, but something that's clear, it's gonna go away. But like I'm not gonna get into like my mental health is struggling. It's not necessary,
No,
and I
not.
don't want them to worry about like that mental stuff. When it comes to like my fears or worries about fights, I have a couple people I have trained with before, usually mostly Westerners because we discuss a lot more. You'll also notice the Thai style, they don't talk a lot.
It's the shame and the stuff like they're brought up as non-communicators, really, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a lot of the like. I mean, I grew up with a super religious background, so I get it. I grew up the same way, but I don't like it particularly.
Did you say you grew up in a religious background? What was it?
I was Mormon before.
Oh. Actually, I think I do remember you telling me this already, but that's why you married early as well? Was that part of that?
At the time I was still part of
it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So, for the people at home who don't understand, like, I grew up with a Mormon kid, like in school and stuff, but give us 5 things that people wouldn't know about it that suck.
I mean, I don't like to be too negative because
the things that.
It's a really strict religion,
Very
strict. Really strict. Down to like what you wear, like this is not allowed. Like you want to wear things that are like covering certain part, like being more modest. No drinking, no coffee, no smoking, no. And I tell people, I'm like, it's pretty similar to the Muslim faith, except for we can't even have coffee. But granted, I'm not wearing hijab or anything, but it was still like very much so like being mindful of that.
It was even like no TV.
No, that's Amish.
I know Amish is
but
that
there's
as well.
a lot of like things, and then there was this group of the church way back in the day. Like back in the day, the whole church, they had multiple wives, and then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna stop that."
Awesome.
Maybe.
If I had the money, I can't afford one, so.
And then like they were like, "We're gonna stop," and these people were like, "We don't want to stop," so they kept. So like a lot of people assume the Mormons still have many wives, but they don't anymore. Yeah, a lot. You'll see the Mormon missionaries. They wear the white shirts. And
saw them last night on the podcast down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's like the classic things people know about them. But that was the main thing. So I have one thing I will attribute to it. I have insane discipline and insane like ability to work hard because of like my upbringing. For sure. At the same time, I have my own struggles with like authority and like everything was so like you listen to authority. That's number one. And to the extent to where I think it made it hard for me to listen to myself a lot. Whereas now, fortunately with Muay Thai, and when I first like left my husband, it was about the same time I left the church. So like I kind of translated, I wrote about this once where I kind of translated all of the like, oh, the church people are in charge to be like, my gym is in charge. Fortunately, they weren't trying to actually control me or anything. But that's how I was seeking that like validation of, am I good enough? Can I do enough? And it took me to a lot of like negative mental spaces because that was the answer. And so finding the way to find the balance and to listen to myself and be like, okay, my body's telling me it needs a day or like a rest. I'm gonna rest and I'm gonna work this or adjust and be more like holistic that way.
So do you officially denounce the religion? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't think you have to. No. I just don't go or anything.
And family reactions and stuff to it?
Fortunately, so I have 6 older brothers. And so like about half, if not more of them have like left and kind of not really been a part of it. So my family was always kind of like screwing up, if you will, in the church terms. So like they fortunately were pretty close and good, like totally fine with it. I think some of them still like were very surprised because I was such a like good kid. But yeah, they're chill. It's fine. They all support my Muay Thai. They like watch all my fights here and everything.
That's fantastic. I never had the family support for doing it, which it is what it is. Like that's why I made my own family. You know. That's why,
of course.
That's why Muay Thai is my family.
Jim is family, exactly.
It never abuses me.
Understandable. Yes. The people who are not a part of my life are fully gone from it. So.
Good. And did you then find it hard, like, and obviously I've got one of my students who's come over with me is a Muslim. So they have a thing where they can't bow to other gods or bow to anyone. They don't put their head down to anyone but Allah, but God. Which makes 100% sense to me, right? So there's obviously adjustments in Muay Thai to how they, in like the Y crew to how they. did you then maybe like, oh man, I've got to start bowing to something else? Was there any of that kind of,
No, not
after
really.
denouncing religion? Okay.
Yeah, fortunately, yeah, the Mormons, most of their like ceremonies and things like that they're like in the temple or like in their very like sacred specific space. So it's not really, for the external stuff, everything's the same other than I dress a little sluttier. Drink my coffee now. I fucking love it.
Drink my coffee and dress like a slut.
Yeah, you know, the goals.
I'm denounced.
It's so funny because I went right into like Muay Thai and everyone's like, oh, you're not like Mormon anymore. You're gonna start drinking. I was like, no, I'm doing Muay Thai like every fucking day. I'm not gonna start smoking or drinking. What do you think?
And why would I want to just kill my health like for nothing,
what?
right?
Yeah,
exactly. For sure. So 2.5 years now in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a goals person? Are you like do you have like a dream, like an end dream or?
Kind of. My dream, it's still abstract, but it's basically I want to have Muay Thai as beautiful as the Thais, and I would love to get like a Thai nickname. Like, because the Thai nicknames are so fucking cool.
I've got one.
Like, I don't want to be like, I'm a lion. I want to be like fucking Sex and the man who yields to no one.
Yeah,
Come on.
translates
that shit's beautiful.
I've got a nickname, but it's actually like prettier more than it is beautiful. Like, and I was kind of known for that for a while, but then that's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So okay, so I suppose getting to like almost like legend status. You know, you're like that chick who come over here and did what the Thais were doing. And have you met Sylvie?
I've never met her, but we've talked online a bit.
We were just talking yesterday. She said for me to say hello to Kriminop and stuff. And she's pretty cool. I'd like to meet her one day. I was hoping this trip I'd be around somewhere to sit down and have a chat with her. Yeah. So the dream is to have a nickname. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have an age where you'd like to retire?
No, I think it's kind of the same thing where like I'm 30 now, so I know like my time's limited realistically, but I'm like, okay, maybe in the next 5 years or so. I kind of figure like when I know, I'll know. Kind of same thing. Like I'm gonna keep trying to like improve, still be smart about it. Like I had that fight a couple months ago with the small gloves, and like after that, I fought again 6 weeks after, and my nose like bled from it again, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to take more time to let my body heal. Like I'm not a child, so I need to like be smart. But I'm still trying to be an active enough fighter right now. And then when I feel like I'll be like, I'll know when it's time.
Do you think much about, okay, do you want kids? Yeah, so like obviously that's a big career ender for, not necessarily, but as
it's a lot of time off.
Yeah, it's a lot of time off. And unless it's really early in your career and then you just bring your kids up in the gym and all that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people struggle with that, going from being the Muay Thai fighter to Kaylee Reese talks about it a lot.
Fucking amazing.
So she, went from being Kaylee, the world champion, to being Kayle's the mum. Yeah. And it's a battle, a mental battle, right? Like, and I think the same thing goes with guys. With you've got to have your retirement plan from an early stage. Yeah. You need to know that. Man, I didn't know my career was going to end when it ended. Yeah. But I had myself already knowing what I was going to do next. It was seamless,
And I think this is like, I wrote about this again because same thing where like my life kind of became all about the gym immediately after, and then I had to find that balance. Like I felt like I kind of built a codependence on it. Yep. On Muay Thai, on my coaches. It's why it made fighting like the best thing in the world or the worst thing. Yeah. And like, just the reality is shit's out of your control, whether it's COVID shutting shit down or like when my shoulder dislocated and like losing what I thought I could have had a decent shot in that tournament if I hadn't dislocated my shoulder. Like certain things like that where it's just like shit happens, and like how do you adapt, and also like what are you going to do? And so for me, even while I'm actively fighting, part of my goals is to not be codependent. Like I work on, I'm a writer, I like poetry also separately. Cool. So like when I have my time off, Muay Thai is my focus. I'm staying on that, I'm in the gym, I'm learning how to teach. Muay Thai is forever, so eventually I'd like to be teaching full time and everything, but right now I'm trying to be a fighter. And then, but in the meantime, it's like taking that time to be those other parts of myself. Because then it's less scary to not be the fighter anymore.
Then it's not like, oh, I like this thing and I'll just fall into that later. No, like it's almost keep your finger in that pie always, but you also never know what other interests you'll
Yeah.
It took me forever to get another interest. Like after I retired, I was still just the Muay Thai guy, you know.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I found, first it was Lego, and then it was, and then after spending thousands on that, it was full driving. So now I finally have like a pastime that I like to do, camping, full driving stuff. Which then I get to mix it as well when we do like Melbourne trips. We drive and then we camp on the way home and shit. That's cool, and it just means that I still have, because as a fighter, right, you still got to have your fun thing to do.
Yeah.
No matter how fun Muay Thai is for you, you got to have a pastime.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, guys, just wanking all day ain't it? Like. But yeah, so 7 years into Muay Thai. How many? So you've been at 3 different gyms,
Yes, three gyms in Thailand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would you have considered yourself a Muay Thai Academy fighter? You were just training there, you had a fight or whatever?
I was their fighter, but I wouldn't say, like, I don't know that I felt like fully adopted by the gym in the same way I have Hong Kong or Manop. So it was kind of more of like the stepping stone to get in shape. The reason I think after a couple months I knew I was more interested in going elsewhere because their style didn't suit me as well, but I stayed because I didn't want to just like bounce around to a bunch of gyms. I hadn't really been to Chiang Mai yet, and in and there weren't having fights in Chiang Mai yet. Like stuff was still shut down. So I had thought about coming up here, but I was like, well, what would the point be of just coming up to fly back to Bangkok all the time?
Yep. That makes a lot of sense, because I rocked up, like when I first met you, that was when they just opened up to unvaxxed.
Yes.
Because the minute they opened up, Damo booked the flights. And, do you know Damo's living over here now?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know.
So he came over, my wife brought him over in April or whenever it was. When she came through. She brought him over to like help find him an apartment and stuff. And then just quickly came back for a month to Australia to sort out visa stuff.
Nice.
But he came back a week before I did, and he might come up in the next few days. I think he might come up for the fights on Monday.
Perfect.
So,
okay, awesome.
Yeah. So we just booked as soon as we could to come over here, and man, I look at how different the world over here is now. Like how the Muay Thai is so different. Like
flourishing more.
Yeah, but good. There's I love the 5-round stadium stuff, and I even find myself drifting away from watching it. Yeah. Because there's just so much of everything else. There's so much of the exciting stuff that you almost forget about it's like, oh shit, there's that show on tonight, and to the point now where like Pete India have canned two more events. Yeah. It's kind of scary for traditionalists. Yeah. I think the bonus is like places like Chiang Mai where your qualification into the sport is fighting 5-rounders. Yeah. Then you might go to 3-rounders. Yeah. But how do you find the way the Thais compared to the way the foreigners train? Like my description of it is always that we're doing it because we love it. They're doing it because they have to.
They're doing it for the money.
Yeah. And it's pretty obvious when you look at even high-level Thais how hard they don't train. Yeah. It's crazy, right? Yeah. It's actually like how the fuck did you just do 5 rounds? Yeah. But you also notice when they come to like Australia and they fight in 5 rounds, where you got to lock away each round. Yeah. They're all done by 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. Like they kind of just sprint for 3 rounds and then just hope to survive the last 2. Yeah.
I think too, like it's just a different mindset, and I think it shows. Like I think I've learned from Mu since I've come here. Like I was a lot more intense, and I want to add a bit more of that back in. But like when I was at Hong Kong, I was doing it all myself. So I like had my structure. I was doing everything. Like I'd get their support, but overall S&C everything myself. My runs by myself, and yet then I came here and I got to see more of how Mu and the other high-level Thais do it. And they fluctuate. So it's like, oh, if I'm tired today, I'm gonna chill out. Sometimes you go sit at a coffee shop for 20 minutes. The pros don't know that you're not running. But during that time, but it's like the same way of like Ipana needs a day off. It's like the Thais still do it their own way. Yeah. Where if you're tired in pad rounds, you're teeping a lot that pad round. You're controlling and being smart. But the way Mu has always explained it to me is like when you do the techniques correctly, it takes very little energy. You don't get tired. So that's why they don't worry about their cardio and fitness as much versus the foreigners who are out here like muscling and going super intense. They're using a lot more energy, so they need that.
That's a good description of it, really.
Yeah.
Like, even the things like being professional enough to know that more isn't more.
Yes.
That when you need a day off, you need a day off.
Yep.
But when you're good, fucking put in.
Yeah.
You can't be the guy that doesn't train properly even on the days when he's good.
Exactly.
Because the Thais, one thing the Thais will notice is that it ain't like training in Australia where every session is fucking smashing it. It ain't like that here. It's like, 10 days out from a show, all right, you're training hard now.
Yep.
This is your fight prep, 7 to 10 days. Maybe 14 if it's on a big show.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, okay, you might still get 7 days into that. It's fuck, I need a day off.
Yeah.
Probably not because that'll be your weight cut time, but you might get into that period and you still need a training session off, or you need to cool off a little bit, which is where you got to be strict enough on yourself. The opposite direction too. Know when enough's enough. Not like, oh man, I'm worried about being underprepared.
Yeah.
Because there's almost for me, like, because I pumped out all those fights close together, there was almost no such thing as underprepared anymore.
Yes.
Like I was so used to being in there, like, and you've been super active as well, so you actually need to do less.
Yes.
Because like you said, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest lesson which you can take away from Thailand is do it right.
Yeah.
Like, do what the Thais are doing. Like, push that little bit harder, because we use more energy on nerves than they do, because they don't even really get nervous.
Yeah.
That's where we need that extra little bit of harder training. That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
And just getting the job done. Get in there and not shit in the bed when you don't have the best performance of your career.
Yeah.
But make sure your trainer's happy.
Yes.
Right? Like I said that to Liam, like, if you come back and Krish is pissed off at you, do better.
Yeah.
But if you get to the end of a fight and even if you got knocked out and you lost, whatever, and he's like, man, you did what I wanted you to. That's all that should matter.
Yeah.
Right? No one's gonna give a fuck when you're retired.
No.
That you lost in Locrot Stadium.
No.
Like, and I think it's probably the biggest thing Liam has learnt is that your trainer's opinion is more important than your own.
Absolutely. And the reality is, like, when you look at the Thais, like, I feel like in the West we get a lot more like, oh, I beat that person, therefore I'm better than them. You can beat anybody can beat anybody on the right day.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can
fight
only
them again,
really
and again.
If you beat them 7 times in a row, okay, I'll say you're better than them.
Yeah.
But until it's that much, like, even Moo, like the other Thais I've talked to, they're like, yeah, my friend, we fought 7 times, 2 I won, 2 he won, 3 times was a draw. Like, it's just a test of styles and a test of energy and everything on that day.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
all that it means. So, like, big picture, it helps you kind of step back and be like, okay, what did I learn exactly? Did I improve? Did I try to do new shit?
Yep.
Or did I rely on my old shit that is my old reliable and just try to go hard all the way?
Exactly. And did I, I've had a shit lead up to this one, but I had my head right on the day, or the other way around, or like, you just before getting in there, everything falls apart, and it's like, oh Jesus, I've got to go do this now.
I've had the flu for 2 of my Bangkok fights.
Nice.
3 of them actually. One of them I was in the hospital for 36 hours before weigh-ins, and it was the Super Champ tournament after we met, where I fought twice in the night.
Yeah.
So I was like in the hospital, ready to cancel, but I was like, shit, I don't want to fuck this.
Who'd you fight in that tournament?
I fought Srefin Tuan, who is from Cambodia, one of their #1, and then I fought Kwanjai, who's also in the tournament.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, and that was frustrating because we had a draw and then had to do an extra round.
That's right, but that was kind of what Super Champ was famous for, and they wanted whoever they wanted to win.
They wanted it to be.
That was the same thing happened to Petsorasha from Luxai Kongdin.
Yes, that
was putrid.
Yeah.
Like, that was such a bad...
Well, in that Super Champ rounds, like, then Super Champ was go forward, go forward, go forward. I think now they've slightly adjusted, but like back then, there were many fights I saw in Super Champ back then where it's like, if you're forward, you win. Doesn't matter if they're step. And Petsorasha is so well known for like stepping back. It was just like they wanted it to be what they wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that was where looks like Hongdae and said never again. For Super
Yeah, because she and I were supposed to fight for the next one for the third place, and then she went to RWS.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's man. Speaking of like having kids and that, like single mother of 4.
Yeah.
And was still doing that, like pretty amazing.
Boss ass.
Yeah, she's a good egg. So I went. She was one of the first that I'd met in the family. We were in China together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she fought in China, and Manfa and Daratong came over as well, and then that's kind of where the relationship kicked off with that family.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So it's obviously the gyms who I'm associated with these days are like family. People who are family to me and stuff, and it was pretty cool last time I was here and someone asked who I was, and Manop's like, oh, this is my son. Like, and last night when he left, he was like, Pinky, I'm going, like, no one else got a goodbye. He's like, Pinky, I'm just going to the clinic, like, I'm like, oh, I feel special right now.
No, exactly. I know, I don't know when, it just started naturally slipped in a few months ago when Moo calls him Pa. And so I just call him Pa now all the time too, and I'm like, you are Dad. Like, realistically, the way he cares for everybody at the gym, like, you are under his stewardship, and his stewardship is the best. Like,
100%.
Countless stories to where I'm just like, you are the kindest man I know, and like the most, I have not seen, other gyms are like great and they might be like family, but like you will not get the kind of care that you get at Manop.
No, I honestly think like through him and through Looks Like Hongdae, I've seen more generosity than I've ever seen in my life. Like, my relationship started with him because I had no money, and it was either I walk home from training and I get to eat, or I don't eat and I catch a bus home. Yeah. Like that's where my money situation was at the time, and he decided every night he just took me home and fed me. Yeah. And then he gave me 1,000 baht MRT card so I could catch the train home in comfort, you know, like that was from day one. Yeah. And he's never actually asked anything out of me. I tried to help him during COVID, and then he tried to pay me back. And like he's not like a normal Thai. No. Like it's actually crazy. Like he treats us like we're actually Thais. Yeah. Because the Thais help the Thais all the time. Yeah. But it doesn't often come across to helping the foreigners as well, you know. So I can't thank him enough for, you know, how good he's been to me over the years. And
oh, absolutely. People try to ask me, they'll be like, what gift should I get Crew Manop? I'm like, I don't even know what. All I can give him really is try to help at the gym and respect. That's all I can give, because I'm like, if I were to give him something with money, or if I gave him a gift, if it's like something, it's different, but like, I'm like, I don't know what he likes. He buys what he likes. And people give him stuff, he gives it away most of the time.
Man, he gave me a pair of like one-off shorts. They were like Brazil/Sanchai, from Sanchai seminar in Brazil. Yeah. He goes, oh, I have these. And I was like, but they're yours. And he's like, oh. Yeah. So it's kind of how gifts work with him. You give him a gift and he's handballing to someone else who needs it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So right now you're having a little bit of a break, right, for visa, sorting your visa and stuff out. Yep. How do you find like the visa stuff these days? Like, because it's a lot harder now than when I lived over here. Yeah. But it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but.
I've always pretty much done the like year visas. Last year when I came back before RWS, I didn't have time to get on a visa, so I did a few runs. Yeah. I think it's just like being smart about it. Like I have a school in town that I enjoy, that I work with. It's like the hand-to-hand combat for like self-defense. Yep. Because then you're less likely, if you get questioned by immigration officers, I feel like I could fake that better than faking Thai. Even though I do speak Thai, but they just can get nitpicky because someone's on a power trip. But fortunately, I think like if you stay in Chiang Mai or fly out of Chiang Mai, everything is more chill here. When you go through Bangkok and stuff, the more visa runs, the more, even if you have visas set up, like I've just heard many stories of it's like I had all my visa stuff, and they still pulled me aside and were trying to get me to pay them 10,000 baht just because they're being dicks that day.
They're told in the morning to make a certain amount of money. Yeah. And they find any option to do so. Yeah. Unfortunately, Australia's no different when it comes to the cops. But they have to go and make their certain amount of
everywhere.
Yeah, true. So a little bit of a break, sorting out the visa thing, and then what was next?
Next, it's not sure. We're talking to RWS, Thai Fight's been asking for me to fight with Pasai. I don't know if I want to go to Karchuk just yet. We'll see. That's kind of the goal, though. I've been talking to Krupa about getting back on RWS.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I would like to, yeah.
I love RWS.
Me too.
Like I actually have. Yeah, it's not the biggest paying and all that sort of stuff, but I think honestly more people, the educated people are following it now. They weren't sort of in the beginning because it was kind of like, oh, another entertainment show. Yeah. But it's kind of like the people are what I kind of find now the uneducated watch one, the educated watch RWS.
Yes.
Still not an overly big fan of the open scoring thing.
I'm not either.
It can kill the third round especially.
Yes.
But also like, the only thing I do kind of like about it is, you know, when you think you're winning and you're not, and it's like, oh, hang on, swing and ding, third round, going out there and try and knock them out. That's probably the only bonus in it, but then you got that other person who they know they're 2 rounds up.
They're just defending, like, yeah.
So third rounds are probably the worst. I think maybe like, you know, maybe an option for during the tournament is put a bonus in the third round, for, like the higher bonus for a third round knockout.
Yeah.
Because then get people swing and ding in the third, like get people trying to knock each other out in the third.
Yeah.
If you're a round apiece, then it's going to be, all right, I might as well go for the 3 bonus points as well, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if I'm down 2 rounds, then I'm actually going to try even harder to hit them, not just, I might knock them out.
Yeah.
Whereas, okay, I could go from not even qualifying for the finals to all of a sudden qualifying.
Yeah.
So do you follow all the RWS?
Most of the women's ones.
Yeah.
I'm lazy there's so many men's Muay Thai.
It's crazy, huh?
And it doesn't apply to me, it's harder. Like even watching Muay Thai, I'd rather do it than watch.
Yeah.
But like when it's applicable, it's easier for me to pay attention.
Yeah.
So I watch all the women's fights as much as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah. Especially because now I've fought many people on the tournament.
Yeah. Who's your favorite fighter?
Other than Som, obviously. Som is number 1.
Yeah.
Right now I really actually love Mei Ri.
Cool.
Because I'm
a fan of her.
Big fan.
Like, she's one of those ones that the entertainment things made her career possible.
Yes.
Like, because she's not young.
No, she's 32.
Yeah, and for a Thai that's
old. Especially a Thai female fighter.
Yeah, so like that, the fact that she's out there and being able to perform and she's so fit and
so fit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's the thing, because when we fought, because she came up in weight to fight me.
Yeah.
I think we fought at 56. And she'd taken it, they'd like a week out or whatever, whoever I was supposed to fight, pulled out, and so she came in. And that's just who she is. Like, she fights anybody. She fought Kwang Kao on RWS. How she got into the tournament, I think, was on 1 day notice. And fought her at 60 kilos. Notice Mei Ri fights at 53 and a half usually. And she smashed her. She did such a good job that I don't know if it's only like the money. In the past couple years, like after we fought, I think about 6 months, 7 months after that, I saw that gym she's with now, she got in, she's been a trainer, she's been so fit.
Yeah.
It's like, she would always take any fight, but now she's like at the level of fitness and support.
Yep.
And I think it's a lot of the shows too that now there's money in it. Like if you take into account, like for women before, even now it's still limited. Like there are no 5-round shows that women can fight on in Bangkok. But like, before there was no money, so like the Thai women, why would they be invested in?
Yeah.
They're not going to be sponsored for 2,000 baht shows, 5,000 baht shows elsewhere, maybe a side bet, but like it's not enough money for the gyms to really support them. So I hear a lot of people go into like, oh, there's like such a discrepancy between men and women fighters. And I'm like, yeah, because there's no reason to train us. No high level shows for us to get support on until a few years ago. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
And even now it's still limited. It's still the 3-round shows versus the 5-round. Like the 5 rounds, if you are fighting high level, you have the time, you suss it out, you figure it out. Whereas when you're just thrown in a 3-round round, it's go, go, go.
Yeah.
And so like Mei Ri, I really respect and I'm happy for it because she's older, she's come in and she's really made this her thing. And so like everything she gets, I feel like it's like, oh, you deserve this.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I
feel the same. I only met her that once that time when you fought her, but you know who the boss is at the gym she's at now? It's Matthew Dean, you know, the ring announcer from
yeah.
So he's the gym owner, like he's my Aussie bro. He's from Cairns, Australia. Half Thai, obviously, but she's easily a fan favorite. Hey, obviously most of the dudes like the star, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. However you can market it, right? But we'll leave it at that for today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. May get out this week, maybe next week. We'll see. But I want to wish you all the best. And
you too.
You want to give your socials a plug?
Sure. You can hit me up at Salah _ Manop Gym. Yeah, check out all the people at Manop Gym. Honestly, it's a gym full of killers on lots of high levels. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pinky.
Legend. Cheers.
Cheers.